Hello everyone, in my last video I showed you how to twist your seals in order to do more damage while leveling. However, now that I'm max level, it changed a lot and also your rotation is much different than it was during leveling, so I wanted to make this video to correct some things and also teach you how to do the most possible damage as a Ret Paladin. But before we begin our builds and rotations, a quick note on seal twisting. You know that I did a seal twisting guide for early levels when you twist Seal of Martyrdom with Seal of Righteousness. Sadly, you cannot really twist on max level, especially on this build, because Seal of Command and Seal of Martyrdom does not twist with each other. I thought that one way it's gonna be actually possible, but sadly it is not. So first of all, we finally got our Divine Storm, which is our bread and butter for most fights. I'm going to show you my rune setup. There is actually two different rune sets that I think works best, but I think for most fights the best one will be using our Divine Storm, our Exorcist of course, which is a great burst damage spell that you can use on all monsters, and also Crusader Strike. So to put it shortly, our rotation is very similar to our Wrath of the Lich King rotation. So once you get your Divine Storm, if you don't know how to do it yet, I will actually be releasing a video with step-by-step how to obtain Divine Storm, but the case is that you should probably have Divine Storm equipped on your chest or your gloves as you prefer, and also of course Exorcist on your legs because it's a must-have. It's most burst damage we can do at this level, and also of course Crusader Strike, which you get very early in Northshire Abbey, or I'm not sure where do you get it for dwarves. So we open up our rotation with Exorcism because it's our longest cooldown. Of course we put our seal up, we judge, we do Crusader Strike and Divine Storm, and we just do it over and over. We play whack-a-mole as you remember it from Wrath of the Lich King. But also you have to remember that it's very mana intensive, especially on this low level, and we don't have Seal of Martyrdom, which costs peanuts comparing to Seal of Command because it's 55 mana versus I believe 8. So this build does take a lot of mana because, well, it takes a lot of mana, Divine Storm and everything else. Actually on the previous mob I should be casting Divine Storm after my Exorcism, and of course you just use your longest cooldowns. You go from the longest cooldowns to the shortest ones. Crusader Strike of course don't cost mana, which is cool. So pretty much this is our highest damaging build that we can do currently, but remember and be aware of it that it's very mana intensive. So doing this on long fights can be problematic because you will go eventually because you don't have any mana sustain. So you have to of course have some mana pots and stuff like that. In BFD bosses die pretty fast, so it's not gonna be much of an issue, but later on if Blizzard releases some more raids hopefully soon, then it might get a bit problematic. With this build we will not be twisting much because, well, Righteousness doesn't really add much damage to our rotation. It's better to use Divine Storm and Exorcism. Of course Exorcism you'll use in any build anyway, so make sure you get this rune. You actually get it from Darkshire where I am right now, but not at this location. I believe you get it from around here because there is a mob that can drop this rune pretty much, and then you just have to turn some undeads and kill it with Exorcism, and then you're gonna get this rune. So make sure to get it because it's our highest damaging spell I think, so it's very of course mandatory to have. So let's get into our second build, which is more mana preserving, and you will be using it on longer fights. And in this one the only thing you change is you replace Divine Storm with Seal of Martyrdom, and of course you put Seal of Righteousness back because we will be doing some twisting, and it's actually less mana intensive to do this. And you don't want Seal of Command. You also will want to change your talents because you can spec out of Seal of Command if you want to keep going with this spec, but I don't think it's very recommended because, well, on some fights you will still want to have Divine Storm. So actually I don't think you should spec out of Seal of Command unless you are absolutely positive that you will not be using the other build that I showed earlier at all. And I got cursed, great. Well, in this build we will actually be doing some twisting. I showed you in the previous video how to twist, but to be honest I didn't do the greatest job explaining what is the rotation while twisting because I only showed you, well, how to twist. I didn't show you that you also of course have to use your Judgment, have to use your Exorcism, and have to use your Crusader Strike in between the twists when you can fit them in. And this build is actually less mana intensive than the Divine Storm one despite all the twisting, because the Seal of Martyrdom costs peanuts. It costs so little that you can just go back and forth all the time, and you can twist both ways. You can go from Seal of Martyrdom to Righteousness, and then you can go back to Martyrdom. You don't have to do any special things. You just rotate between those two, so it is a bit less demanding on you to just keep attention. But as again, I didn't have the best swing timer installed in my previous video. This one is much better. It shows you when can you do twist before you're gonna do your melee attack. It doesn't work with Martyrdom yet, but it's probably gonna be updated soon. So in the description you will be able to see where to download it from, and of course you will need weak auras because it is a script for weak auras. So it's very good to have, of course, this add-on and also the weapon swing timer that I showed you. So again, of course, you want to open with your exorcism and then you're gonna get to twisting. It does take a bit of practice, and if you don't know what twisting is at all, then my previous video is still, I think, pretty handy to just get the basics of it. But of course you want to do your whole rotation and you want to fit in with the priority of exorcism and then Crusader Strike and then Judgment Last, because, well, this is our biggest burst and Crusader Strike is our weapon damage. So especially when you're gonna get Very Gun's Fist, which is our best in slot before the BFD raid, then you will actually be doing the most damage with those abilities. But of course you want to fit in judgments as well, and this is a build, as I said, that is better for mana sustain. You will probably want to use Divine Storm in most cases, but in some fringe cases you might want to actually use Martyrdom, especially if we're gonna get better raids that require more, well, the enemies will have more HP because bosses right now in BFD die pretty fast. But once we're gonna get some more demanding enemies, then maybe you will want to do the twisting build. And also we will see if Blizzard will actually maybe buff Seal of Command to be able to twist again as we were doing in TBC, because right now, well, Seal of Command and Martyrdom, or previously known as Seal of Blood, does not work between each other. When it comes to talents, first of all, do not look at mine because mine are for leveling and I will be changing them soon. Benediction, I think, is still very handy because as the Divine Storm build you will use a lot of mana, so every bit helps. Judgment, of course, is mandatory. Then Seal of Command if you use the Divine Storm build. Pursuit of Justice is nice because we don't have mobility as paladins, but at the same time it's not really necessary. If you want to go more damage, you can go for Conviction, and also of course improved Seal of the Crusader, because Seal of Command does do holy damage and our judgments do holy damage, so you want to apply this especially on bosses. You can also choose to not take Conviction and you can go 5 points into Divine Strength to get 10% more strength, but I am not sure, to be honest, on this level is it more beneficial to have a bit more crit or if it's better to have 10% more strength. If you're gonna get fully decked out and you're gonna have a lot of strength, probably Divine Strength is the way to go. So in conclusion, yeah, Seal Twisting is a bit dead in Season of Discovery for now, if Divine Storm will keep being our number one rotation that we are going to use and number one build. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of it, and I will also be releasing tomorrow probably a video about how to get Divine Storm from beginning to end, because I think such a video hopefully will be helpful to you guys if you don't have Divine Storm yet. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought about it, and I'll see you again very soon.